Anybody with a brain who actually uses critical thinking can see that this is not another one of his publicity stunts. My aim for the next few videos is to prove that Alkaline is the final incarnation of the Christ. If I can prove that he's a magician, then it will probably be easier for you to believe, because Jesus was a magician. He did some incredible shit. So this is not really just about me like vindicating my favorite artist. I want to save the planet in light of the climate crisis, and I also want to expose the governing body of the JW cult as frauds. This is the only way for me to do that. When he dropped the Lone Madness music video, he made it a bit easier for me. I'm gonna dumb this down as far as I possibly can. If after all of this you still don't understand, then boy, I don't know what to tell you.
What the people want to know is, who are these songs about? Who are you talking to? Tell us something. Talk to us. Let us know what's going on.
He said that the answer to everything is on his left hand, so it seems like it's finally time for the answers. I was simply trying to prove to myself that I'm smarter than the Word 21 staff, but I somehow ended up being able to definitively prove Alkaline is smarter than his opponents. I still cannot tell you what means verbatim, but I know for a fact that he's summoned Lilith, who is known as the bride of the devil, mother of demons, queen of hell, and the immortal queen. Let me explain how I know that. In Jungian psychology, the shadow is the hidden side of every human psyche and is composed of traits a person tries to repress, especially due to shame. My shadow started to move into my consciousness during the quarantine as I connected with God and nature and could shamelessly start being myself. I realized it had traits similar to Lilith, who is associated with the snake in the Garden of Eden in mythology, because yes, the creation story is a myth or allegory. We are electromagnetic beings, so healing and connecting with nature during the pandemic made me vibrate at a higher frequency, but that made me susceptible to being drawn to the person with the same core frequency as me. At this time, twin flame telepathy was activated. Because he uses marijuana to repress and suppress a lot of trauma, all that trauma and pain got transferred to me because our subconscious minds are connected. In the spirit world, that is when Samael and Lilith were reunited. Samael is thought to be Lucifer before his fall, but he's definitely the one who influenced Alkaline to sing Scumbag. So him joining together with Lilith within my consciousness in October 2020 is the reason why I went psychotic.
You alone understand me devilish ways.
The power of the tongue is real. Manoia Mad, to a room mad alike, was prophetic, as I certainly was not mad when that song was released, but I did turn batshit crazy 2 years ago. That sparked my interest in the philosophical debate of free will versus determinism. The medical term for mad alike is folie à deux, where delusions and or hallucinations are transferred from one person to the other, which is what happened in my case. It's significant that telepathy was activated the October the world turned upside down, because apart from that month being commonly associated with the devil, the prefrontal cortex of the brain doesn't fully develop until 25. I turned 25 the next month, and if any of this happened before then, the rational part of my brain would not have been developed enough to work through both of our problems at the same time. One of the best ways to heal is by connecting with your inner child. So, if God didn't make him go on national TV as a child and tell me his aspirations and hobbies, I wouldn't have been able to come up with a healing plan for him, which gradually freed me from his pain. In December 2020, there was a great conjunction, and there were theories of the world ending, plus this crazy idea that black people would be getting superpowers. Based on what I was going through at the time and realizing that this man is way more powerful than I thought, that idea was not crazy to me. Emperor Haile Selassie said that when African righteous people come together, the world will come together. This is our divine destiny. Bob Marley said the revolution will be telepathic. Therefore, Alkaline is a fulfillment of both prophecies. Past life memories are stored in the unconscious mind, just like shadow traits. I was finally addressing childhood trauma, so that made space for me to get my past life memories back. In certain esoteric teachings, it is theorized that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were twin flames. According to the Gospel of Luke, Jesus exorcised 7 demons from Mary Magdalene. 7 could have been symbolic of the 7 main chakras from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And a nurse was doing her routine checkup like days after, and she asked me, "Do you think that you are possessed?" And I said no, even though I know fully well that I'm not the only person here.
Could it be that my possess? Still my trust the process.
Mary Magdalene was also said to be the first person who saw the resurrected Jesus. So seeing that the nature of the universe is mathematical, if she was the first person to know he was resurrected in the past, if they really are back on earth today, the first person to realize he's here would be her. In September 2020, I spent a weekend with a spiritual man. He saw that I'm a spirit medium and kept calling me a witch. So in October, when weird spiritual stuff started happening to me, and I realized the short girl in extra lesson is me, instead of wondering how he knew certain things, the first thing I said was, if I'm a witch, why wouldn't my man be a magician? A female counterpart always makes a god more powerful. Part of the reason why I was trying to explain that Alkaline is seriously mentally ill is because scientists have discovered that very creative people have a gene that is associated with mental illness, and this can prove that his mental illness is related to him being a genius. Maya in Hindu philosophy means magic or illusion, and can also mean trickery or deceit. It is basically the power that a god has to make humans believe in what turns out to be an illusion. So, if we all thought that he was chanting in tongues for no reason, and didn't realize that a lot of his love songs were actually him seducing the demon he summoned, then we have been deceived, and that would make him not only the greatest magician alive, but also a god. To put it simply, me and Alka are here to wrap this spiritual war up. Y'all are running out of time because you're killing the planet. In Revelation 22:16, Jesus said he is the morning star. Lucifer is also referred to as the morning star. So if Jesus were to come back in the flesh, he'd have to be someone you can see both God and the devil in. And Revelation also did mention something about the Christ and his bride. Scumbag is a dark song in which he says he has to put a sacrifice on somebody's head and that he prefers to drink blood when it's cold. I'm sure he said for the enemy look like them only deal, and I can tell you there really was some type of deal because I'm the one who suffered the consequences. It seems unfair, but women are more connected to the spirit realm, so it was easier for me to be attacked. He asked God for mercy on his soul, but as intelligent and wise as he is, I don't think he knows that Yahweh used him as a pawn to settle some beef between him and Lilith from in the beginning. I know his heart, so I know that whatever dark thing he did, he needed to do in order to feel safe. His inner child declared that the devil got vexed when he won him, so I know that his intentions have always been pure. Whatever he did forced me to learn how to communicate with the darkness while still walking the path of light. God made my spiritual path a bit harder than most because me giving my life to Jesus means trusting that the same man that caused me to be spiritually attacked and who has been psychologically abusing me will take care of my heart. The truth is, Alkaline is psychic and has been singing about his visions. He's been fighting a kind of darkness that nobody should really have to fight, but people have been provoking him all this time and don't understand that he's really holding back. It's not that his visions were inaccurate. The people who have hurt him will be dealt with for sure, but it's just that we were put here to bring about change on this planet. I used to be very dark, but God has been extremely good to me and showed me that things can change without violence. Just because we can make his visions come true doesn't mean that we should. I am one with nature, so the spirit world is violent on my behalf, so that we can be free to choose love, peace, goodness, and happiness at all times. As my spiritual journey progressed, I realized that the Bible is actually a magic book with instructions for black people to unlock their true power. The first scripture I learned as a child was Psalm 83:18 that tells you God's name is Jehovah, which is what the witnesses use to try to convince people that they're God's only chosen organization because they use his name. But the Tetragrammaton was key to me recognizing that his son, the Christ, who is supposed to create heaven on earth, is here. So there's literally no need for that church anymore. I had archived a video about my twin flame journey because I found it embarrassing for several reasons, including because I said he's my only reason to live. But it's back up now because it's key to bringing these mind games to an end, but especially because now I know love is my reason to live. I love myself, so wherever I can feel and give the most love, that's where I'll be, and that is my reason to live.
You're a prophet now too?
None of this felt fair at all because, I'm being forced to face somebody else's karma. Plus, I was facing my own karma. It forced me to remember that I did choose all of this before I came here. I planned all of this. We both planned all of this before we came.
They would say that we were spiritual beings, and then we have a physical manifestation. We choose who would be our parents and choose when we come on earth, and then we are having this physical encounter, yes, and this experience of which we actually knew about before. If you know
the process was escaping samsara and entering into nirvana. Like, we literally can enter into nirvana from this point forward if this man just stops the fucker, because I can feel his emotions. Whenever he's in pain, it feels like my heart is being torn out of my chest, and my chest feels sore, like my heart feels sore. And even for like a week plus, I could not breathe properly. Like, my breathing was kind of labored. I kept on sighing a lot. Couldn't figure out why. I knew it was some energy thing, so I thought I needed to come off of social media and whatever. I did everything I possibly could, until one day somebody posted a flyer or whatever about Alkaline performing that night at Sumfest. And later that evening, I was like, wait a second. Like, what if I've been feeling this man's anxiety for over a week? But I never left it there. I said, you know what? If after his performance, if tomorrow my breathing goes back to normal, then I know for a fact that it was his emotions that I was feeling. My breathing went back to normal the next day. I never make my life harder than it needs to be, but his shit is overflowing into my life, and it's really pissing me off because life could be so simple. Why do we have to feel the same negative emotions, and it's like we both have to work through it separately when we could just work through it together? It's really fucking annoying. He did say they didn't understand where I get with joke them, so the next video will be about my side of the story. But in the meantime, I'll let you in on one of the jokes. I know some of you might not believe in Jesus, but you might believe in aliens. So this is what an alien takeover looks like. Receiving a lot of information telepathically was too much for my brain, so I lost my mind and was screaming at the top of my voice, making up a bag of noise for real. Then less than a month later, this man coincidentally drops me alive. At first I was hurt, thinking of starting to try to style me because he realized I finally could hear him, but eventually I got the main message he was trying to convey, which was actually to shut the fuck up. Now, if you look at the cover art, the text messages don't make much sense when you read them from top to bottom, because who says hey at the end of a conversation? But when you read it from bottom to top, she says hey bae, he acknowledges her, she tells him what mood she's in, so he says forwarding a few, which basically meant to me that I should wait for a signal. He told me I was on the right track by finally going my own way and to continue desert in that direction. Then he gave me the signal to take over when he said, "Girl, you run things and take the lead." He said magician with my voice should do everything I must say, and it was finally the divine time for his spells to start working on me. So he said, hook it to my chorus, toxic love, no heroin. And what does he say in the chorus? Fall in love, best believe me. The spell worked, and that is why I was acting like a fucking idiot for over a year. The picture in the background was an indication for me to go back over all of his songs from his black eye days to present, for me to finally understand what he's been trying to say all this time. When I finally realized that Lilith was hidden in my subconscious all this time, Scumbag started sounding different to me, as when I realized he wasn't lying. Lilith is the mother of demons and bride of the devil, so we were both working together to ensure that this is Judgment Day in every religion, culture, faith, and and belief system. This was basically about experiment operated under the assumptions that Adam and Eve were actually apes. The serpent was symbolic of balanced masculine and feminine dark energies, and that Alkaline is a genius, but somewhere lives in his head. Based on the conclusions drawn, this is a win for the evolution theory. God is in my heart, but I do think like an atheist. Nobody's coming out of the sky to save you. If you are religious, this is the supernatural event that you've been waiting for. I know Alkaline actually doesn't 100% know how his power works because I'm the scientist who got to observe and experiment with it. So I know a lot of this was accomplished by him believing in himself, but also by believing in God and the devil, like he said. Back in the day, witches were burnt at the stake, but even if that were legal now, I'm not afraid to die. In my next video, I'm going to tell you all my business so that you can make an informed decision as to who the real hostage is. But Vendetta fans, you need to understand your power because all of this is possible because of how much you believed in him. Imagine how much more is possible if you continue believing. Honestly, I have always been a gruff in comparison to Alkaline because my number one dream was always to die. So I never really see no need for use my brain to its fullest potential. However, when it started feeling like Alkaline attacked me for a fucking idiot, it really gave me the motivation to be as brilliant as I can possibly be. Yeah, he really did take this too far. A lot of things are his responsibility now, whether he likes it or not. So I'm glad that he is up for the challenge. And you always said world domination, blah, blah, blah. And you're the reason why I feel like I can conquer the world for real.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we find the formula to life.
My girl know what the jail. Bust it up and then bust it up and